Ben White of Politico did a superb expose on Trump's wealth, and the conclusion is, shocker, he's a liar, and he's not worth anywhere near what he says he is. So they explain here. Donald Trump claims a net worth of more than $10 billion and an income of $557 million. But he appears to get there only by overvaluing properties and ignoring his expenses. Politico spoke with more than a dozen financial experts and Trump's fellow multimillionaires about the presumptive Republican nominee's latest financial statement. Their conclusion? The real estate magnate's bottom line, what he actually puts in his own pocket, could be much lower than he suggests. Some financial analysts said this, and a very low tax rate is why Trump won't release his tax returns. They continue here, and they really, really get into specifics and just blow up his whole facade. They say, quote, Trump assigns himself a net worth that is impossible to verify and may be based in part on fantasy. And he is selling assets and increasing debt in ways that suggest a man scrambling for ready cash. The financial disclosure form showed Trump adding fresh debt of at least $50 million, though a campaign news release said Trump is using increased revenue to reduce his debt, which is now at least $315 million and possibly more than $500 million. The disclosure also suggests that Trump sold fund assets to raise as much as $7 million in cash and individual securities to raise up to $9 million more. The apparent increase in debt and securities sales raises questions about the amount of cash Trump has on hand. And then they go on to give this quote from a financial expert who looked into this. If he is swimming in so much cash for all his holdings, why is he selling this stuff to raise cash? Okay, I have an answer for that question. He doesn't have cash on hand. It is all a facade. He's been lying from the beginning. And what he does is, it's actually one of the oldest tricks in the book. You sell the image of being super wealthy and super successful, and you equate your name, your brand with success, and then that opens up more opportunities and gives you more opportunities, and you get more people's money, and you get more loans from banks, so on and so forth, because you've sold this image, and in his case, he's successfully sold his image. So let me give you more facts here. A big chunk of Trump's net worth figure comes from high valuations he bestows on his golf course properties. Trump values 9 of his golf properties at over $50 million for a total of at least $450 million. He values at least 4 more at up to $25 million and a fifth at up to $50 million. But golf course valuation experts say there is nothing in the report to support these lofty figures. On his disclosure report, Trump lists the Trump National Golf Club in Westchester County, New York, as worth over $50 million. But get this, Trump's attorney at first argued the property was worth just $1.35 million. Oh boy. So, understand the trick he does here. When it comes time to talk to the press and sell the image of him being so immensely wealthy and, oh my God, you should see how much I'm worth, what he does is he really overinflates the value of his assets. But when it comes time to actually pay taxes on those things, what does he do? He goes, I don't know, did I say it was worth $50 million? I mean, it was worth $1.35 million. Whoa. There's a big difference there, big guy. Which is it? You can't say it is literally worth $1.35 million when it comes time to pay taxes, but when I'm not paying taxes, I'll just say it's worth $50 million. No, which one is it? It's got to be one or the other. And then get this. When they realize, oh, shit, he's running for president and his finances are going to be scrutinized, what do? They're like, oh, yeah, no, we'll pay taxes on it being worth $9 million? Kick it up to $9 million, maybe? Oh, God, he's so sleazy. So you see what he's doing. He's like, well, we'll still say it's worth $50 million, but we'll kick it up from being the preposterously low $1.35 million to $9 million. He's not worth anywhere near what he says he is. All the monetary value he's assigning to his properties, he made it up. He just makes it up. And then when it comes time to actually pay taxes, he's like, it's worth like 1/50th of what I said it was worth. All right, more. Steve Stan Ganelli, a certified financial planner at Clearview Wealth Advisors, said, quote, Trump has a tendency to value his brand at a very high amount, but these are usually intangible valuations just pulled out of thin air, and he appears to be reporting gross revenue. There is a huge difference between that and net income. What really matters is what you put in the bank. All right, so that's the other trick that he does. When he makes up these numbers about how much he's worth, he doesn't include any of his debt. Dude, then you're just not worth that. That doesn't mean what you think it means. Yeah, I'm worth this amount. Okay, but how much money do you have out in debt? About 70% of that, maybe 80% of that. But then you're not worth that amount. You have to take that amount and subtract the 70 or 80%. That's what your net worth is. He's like, no, I'm only going to count the stuff that that doesn't include the debt because then it makes me look better. But that's not the real number. Nobody does that. Who does that, man? Guys, look, I like SecularTalk, so this is my own little small business here. If I tried to do that and get away with that, I'd be called out immediately. People are like, that's not what you're worth. You're not including any of the debt. But when he does it, all of a sudden, like, people just repeat it. Yeah, he's a billionaire. What do you mean? But where's the evidence of that? There's no evidence of that. There's no proof of that. There's none of that. All he does is he inflates the numbers of his properties, and he doesn't even include the amount of debt he has, his expenses. He doesn't include any of that. That's crazy. All right, and then finally, let me give you this, because this, I think, is the nail in the coffin. Quote, estimates of Trump's net worth range from a low of $150 million to $250 million, asserted by journalist Timothy O'Brien in a 2005 book that earned him a libel lawsuit from Trump that was eventually dismissed. So a journalist does all the hard work to determine what this guy's really worth, okay? He goes, okay, $150 million to $250 million. That's what he's worth. He's worth that much. Trump claims he's worth $10 billion. Apparently, in 2005, he's only worth $150 million to $250 million. So this guy does that, writes a book on it. Trump sues him for libel. The judge is like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. What are you, stupid? Get out of my courtroom. You must be a crazy person. No, you don't win this libel case. Get the fuck out. Gee, I wonder if he was worth $150 million to $250 million, or if he was right and it's over $1 billion, or he says $10 billion. Now, to be fair to Trump, Fortune magazine, they also try to calculate what he's worth. They have it at a high of about $3.9 billion. Okay, now, understand, I get it. That's still a lot of money. He's still massively rich, no matter how you slice it or dice it. But I think the point here is he's just a serial liar. He's a pathological liar. He can't help himself. I'm worth $10 billion. Okay, well, the highest we got here is 3.9. So you more than double what Fortune magazine estimates. And then this journalist in 05 had you at $150 million to $250 million. You tried to sue him and you lost. So you're not, it's not true. You're just a liar, and we all see through it. But that's the thing. Not everybody sees through it. And this is what Trump has done so well throughout his entire life. He's such a good bragger that he really has sold this image of being successful to the point where when people bring up facts like I'm bringing up right now, like, you get dismissed and you get scoffed at. You know, fucking Jack Nicklaus, arguably the greatest golfer of all time. He's not a stupid person. He recently said, oh, you don't get to where Trump is without being incredibly smart and successful. So what that is he just fell hook, line, and sinker for the propaganda. He fell hook, line, and sinker for the image. No, apparently, Donald Trump's wealth is about as real as his skin color, or perhaps his hair. Understand that Donald Trump inherited a lot of money from his dad. He lies and says, I took a small $1 million loan. Right, small $1 million loan. I know a lot of kids in the middle of Harlem who would love to have that small $1 million loan. But that's what he says, okay? When his dad died, he got way more than that. His dad was worth over $100 million. He got way more than just that $1 million. So, I mean, there's a chance he's only worth today what he inherited from his dad. And remember, his businesses went bankrupt 4 times. So if he's only worth what he inherited from his daddy, and he was born with that silver spoon in his mouth, and his businesses went bankrupt 4 times. Well, is that a business genius? My ass cheeks, it's a business genius.